station.
With a personality shaped by being an athlete and a background in mainstream sports media, I found that the stories I was most interested in telling were the ones often overlooked, the ones that might not otherwise be told, the ones that show the intangible and not just the highlight reel. The Sports Council is about highlighting the great, the good, the unique, and everything in between in the Pacific Northwest sports world. I'm Jamie Council. Thanks for joining me.
You're listening to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, the Tri-Cities leader in sports.
With the Water Follies just over a month away, boat racing fans are looking forward to the biggest event since the pandemic, according to race director Aaron Stevens.
More boats on the water. We're gonna have, I think, 5 different classes of boats and a 2-hour air show. So I got boats, I got planes. We are Hydrotown.
The Tri-Cities has a lot of hometown pride where the H1 Unlimited Series comes into play. Strong Racing already with their eye on the Gold Cup in San Diego this year and hungry for more success for their 2 boats, according to Tri-Cities native and owner of Strong Racing, Daryl Strong.
We've gotten good people, and we won 9 out of the 13 races we've been in. We tried something different in this sport where we have 2 #1 boats, and it's interesting. They each won 2 races last year, and you know, what it does is it takes mechanical failure off the table. You know, if one guy's a little faster than the other one, but he breaks, the other one wins.
Last racing season, Strong Racing walked away with a sweep on the circuit as well as a national championship with J. Michael Kelly and the U1 Miss Beacon Electric.
Winning Seafair, winning the Gold Cup, winning national high points, and yeah, first thing we did was break the boat down and make a ton of changes, but there are changes that needed to be done, and we got some very smart guys on our team with Jeff and Mike Campbell, and a lot of other talented people too. Yeah, they dove into the boat and did the work that they wanted to do to it, and after today's so far with testing today, everything seems to be working really well, so very happy.
However, just because they are teammates and friends doesn't mean that Corey Peabody isn't ready to go this year, back driving the U9 Miss Beacon Plumbing and winning the past 2 of 3 races at the Columbia Cup.
I'm happy for him that he won. You know, he's been trying for 20 plus years, and so, you know, the big picture of things, that's good. It was definitely a heartbreaker for me because, you know, we had such a good season going, but that's just the way it is. You know, you can't look back and be mad about it or, you know, worry about it. You just got to move forward and, you know, do it again. I know he's going to be my biggest competition this year. Now with Andrew and the other boat, it's going to be another hard one, but we just got to keep, you know, moving forward, keep our eye on the prize and do what we got to do and not worry about, you know, the Madison team or something like that. Just care about what we're going to do and go out and meet our goals.
But it's not just Corey Peabody that wants success. There's a whole field of drivers that are looking to put their name in the H1 Unlimited hydroplane books.
You're listening to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, the Tri-Cities leader in sports.
Inconveniences can happen at, well, inconvenient times. JRT Mechanical has plumbers and HVAC technicians available 24/7 if an emergency does arise. Or if you feel like your house isn't cooling like it used to, or if you're tired of a hose leaking from last winter's freeze, JRT is an honest, reliable company that's been in the Pacific Northwest for more than 3 decades. Give JRT Mechanical a call at 509-314-4314 or visit jrtmechanical.com.
If you've got a winery, brewery, or dairy, why buy industrial parts and supplies from across the country? Central Industrial Sales is your local source for supplies and equipment for the dairy, food processing, winery, cannery, and brewing industries. We specialize in custom fabrication, industrial cleaning equipment, sanitary fittings, valves, pumps, chemicals, and many other supplies. Everything's available through our website, by phone, or by dropping by our office. Call 509-375-4032 or find us at centralindustrialsales.com.
You're listening to Jamie Council on the Sports Council.
There are 8 drivers currently listed in the circuit. Most recently, Dave Villwock announced his return. Racing since 1992, Villwock has won a total of 67 races, making him the most successful driver in the 119-year boat racing history. Though Villwock hasn't won a national championship since 2011 or a Gold Cup since 2012. Known for his risk-taking, Villwock is one to keep an eye on driving the U-27 Miss Apollo by Wiggins Racing. Back with Miss Madison this year is Andrew Tate, a driver that has struggled to find some consistency in the H1 Unlimited world in recent years, is back in the U91 Miss Goodman Real Estate and says it feels like a whole new boat having the fastest speed at the H1 Unlimited testing.
Yeah, for me it's a brand new boat, my 4th brand new boat, well, to me, in the last 4 years, so that's kind of getting interesting, but hopefully we make this one stick. Same team, under the Miss Madison Racing team. They have 2 hulls. This is the newer of the 2. It was previously the Home Street Bank boat, so we've repainted it and touched it up a little bit to try and make it go faster, and it's now the U91 Miss Goodman Real Estate, so it's all new to me right now. What's been the toughest learning curve for you, because you've driven a lot of boats, both in H1 and as well as under, but with the boat, the hull that you have this year, what's the biggest learning curve? You know, it's going to be hard to tell. Testing is kind of its own thing, right? You're out there by yourself doing laps, kind of learning and figuring things out. And it is a huge learning experience, but the real learning starts when you get into race water with competition and boats next to you, and then you can kind of, you know, see if everything you thought was in your comfort zone actually is. So, you know, it's a slow process here. We're take it easy, step by step, hopefully go faster and faster, and get myself just comfortable with the hull and confident to be able to put it where I want to put it come race day. And you've already been out on the water for testing. How did it handle? What did you feel? It's here now. Yeah, it was, like I said, being out there by yourself is it's always tricky, but the boat felt absolutely awesome. Into the corner, through the corner, and off the corner, more than anything, is kind of probably the biggest difference from the previous boats that I've raced, in H1 at least. So, you know, we're happy. It was a good start to the day. And speaking of you're out there by yourself, it got a little dicey last season. What did those conversations look like where I described the H1 family as just that, a family, but a little fight like family too? Yeah, I mean, I think we all respect each other enough to talk to each other and understand, you know, what the misunderstanding, whatever it might have been, was about, and how to resolve it, and, you know, move forward. At the end of the day, it's a competition, and we all want to win. We could be buddies out on the shore and you know, at the bars and the restaurants or events or whatever it might be, but when we get out on the course, it's a different color boat, and hopefully it's behind you. So talk about it and move on. That's it. Like it. And you already have a Gold Cup national championship under your belt, but of course you always want to win more. What are your goals for this race season? We want to be competitive. We obviously want to be at the top. I think I just said we all want to win. Those are all obvious things. I think as a team and as a driver, we want to be consistent. It's been tough, I think, for me to maintain consistency over the course of the last 3-4 years I've been doing this, just because everything's always new at the beginning. So, you know, small steps, continue to get better, continue to get faster, and I think if we do that, based off where we just started here, you know, we're going to have a competitive season and be in the running, hopefully every Sunday afternoon for the final heat.
The rest of the field is young and still looking for their first race win. What was chalking up to be a promising year in 2023 for U40 bucket list racing driver Dustin Eccles turned out to be a tough lesson with a blowover in Madison. Eccles first qualified in 2017, being named Rookie of the Year. Now back in 2024, he's ready to make his mark on the sport.
Well, we went through the boat in the off season and completely rebuilt the running surfaces, the sponsons, a lot of the running gear. The engines are brand new, gearboxes are completely done. I mean, it's basically a brand new boat.
And how are you feeling about this season?
I feel great. Last year was my first year in this boat, first full season, and we only got 4 races in, but starting this year I feel really confident. We changed a few things to make it a little better for me to drive, and we're starting off pretty good.
And like I alluded to, you've been on the water for quite a while. What got you into boat racing?
My dad raced starting when I was really young. I was 9 years old when he started racing, and I was always around it. It was a great family atmosphere, and of course I wanted to race, and so he got me racing the small outboards when I was young and just worked my way up to the classes.
And what is your favorite part about being on the water in an H1 boat?
I think it's the team aspect. You know, the fans see us here racing on the weekends, but we're working on these things nonstop. So the crews become like a second family, and we just spend so much time together. This is kind of the chance that we get to come out and showcase our hard work and show everybody what we've been doing.
And being from Monroe, today you're in the Tri-Cities for testing. What's your favorite part about being in the Tri-Cities?
I have family here. My grandmother lives up on the hill. My parents are here in town watching us test. They haven't been able to watch us run the big boat yet, so first time that. And the fans here are fantastic. You know, they go nuts. They call it Hydro Town for a reason. It's really great to come out here and feel the energy.
And what goals do you have for yourself in bucket list racing this season?
We are very hopeful to win our team's first race this year. We've been so close so many times. We finished second here last year, and we've been just on the verge. And we have great equipment, a great team. There's no reason that we shouldn't be in the winner's circle this year.
I love that. And for you personally, do you have any goals for yourself as a driver, or is it all just team focused?
It's mostly team focused, and I think my number one goal, to win a Gold Cup is also our team's goal. So we share the same goal, and we're all working very, very hard to try to accomplish that.
And Jamie Nilsson in the U11 Miss Mercury Coffee has 7 heat wins, but no race wins at the H1 Unlimited level. With a long rap sheet and outboard and inboard in both 5-liter and Grand Prix, Nielsen is another driver on the cusp.
I think it turned out great. I mean, it's definitely different than what the team's campaigned in the past, but between our marketing people and the Mercury's folks, I think they came up with a great paint scheme, and I'm excited to see what it looks like out on the water.
And what is your background in the sport?
My background with sport is it's something I've done all my life. So I started racing little J-Stock Hydros when I was 12 years old, and I've been doing it ever since. So I think doing the math, this will be my 26th consecutive year of racing some sort of hydroplane. So loved it as a kid and fell in love with the sport and been doing it ever since.
And which is your favorite race site in Washington? Because you're from Gig Harbor, which technically isn't Seattle, it's its own separate, but then there's different things of both. So what's your view being a Washingtonian yourself?
Oh, I mean, that's an easy answer to that question. I grew up, a fan of boat racing, watching the hydros on Lake Washington, the big Seafair race. So for me, my favorite race and, most sentimental race is definitely the Seafair race on Lake Washington, and a dream of mine to win it someday.
And over the past year, during the off season, what kind of changes besides, of course, the aesthetics have you made to the U11?
Yeah, so the team's been working really hard all off season. Excuse me. They made some changes structurally inside the boat to shore up some things that were showing some wear and weakness from years past. Sorry. And, the engines all got an upgrade too, so we should be making some more horsepower than we have in the past. Propeller game has increased, has gotten better, And like you said earlier, the biggest change is going to be the new colors. So I have a new name on the boat, Mercury's Coffee Company. We're so excited to have them on board, and really look forward to representing them all season long.
And for you as a driver, what sorts of things have you been working on where it seems like you work on one part of the racing and then you find another part, you know, kind of dips off? What is that for you as a driver right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for us because we don't get a whole lot of time on the water to go practice in the winter times, right? So this for us is our first time in an actual unlimited hydroplane since, you know, the last race at Seafair last year. So, but there is a lot that can be gained from, you know, watching the videos and the live streams over and learning from what you did right or did wrong in years past. And also they have a great online simulator game now too. So it's called Hydro Sim is the name of the game that you can get online and play. It's actually fairly realistic. So do that a little bit, and then other than that, just stay in shape.
Thank you, pandemic, for that game.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember talking to a driver, and they said that's the only time that they can win a race and be drinking a beer and be in their underwear.
That's pretty well put.
And not many people know that while you've been a driver in the hydro world a long time, you're also a big baseball player and have some history at Central Washington.
Yeah. So baseball was always a big hobby of mine growing up. You know, played Little League all the way through, and you know, managed to find some really good success at it, you know, later in high school, and got an opportunity to just try out and walk on out at Central Washington University. And, you know, through a lot of hard work and dedication, 5 years later, I graduated as an All-American, and was fortunate enough to get signed by the Kansas City Royals and played a year in their minor league system. So, yeah, have a lot of great memories from baseball. I think it really helped prepare me for this as far as the mental aspect of things and the competition, keeping a level head, and you know, really appreciate and a lot of the lessons learned from baseball.
Yeah, and that was kind of going to my next question of being signed with Kansas City. Was there ever a time where you had to choose one or the other, or was it kind of a natural progression, or what was that path like for you of being in either baseball or the racing world?
Yeah, definitely. So there was, you know, a 5-year stretch there while I was in college, and then with Kansas City, that I definitely backed away from boat racing. When it was baseball season, it was baseball season, and you know, that included a lot of summer baseball and whatnot. But there wasn't a year that I'd never snuck in at least one race at some point. So, you know, if summer ball ended early August, I could sneak in a couple at the end of August, early September, and keep my skills sharp.
Well, glad you're in the boat racing world.
Yeah, I love it.
You're listening to Jamie Council on the Sports Council.
Inconveniences can happen at, well, inconvenient times. JRT Mechanical has plumbers and HVAC technicians available 24/7 if an emergency does arise. Or if you feel like your house isn't cooling like it used to, or if you're tired of a hose leaking from last winter's freeze, JRT is an honest, reliable company that's been in the Pacific Northwest for more than 3 decades. Give JRT Mechanical a call at 509-314-4314 or visit jrtmechanical.com.
If you've got a winery, brewery, or dairy, why buy industrial parts and supplies from across the country? Central Industrial Sales is your local source for supplies and equipment for the dairy, food processing, winery, and brewing industries. We specialize in custom fabrication, industrial cleaning equipment, sanitary fittings, valves, pumps, chemicals, and many other supplies. Everything's available through our website, by phone, or by dropping by our office. Call 509-375-4032 or find us at centralindustrialsales.com.
You're listening to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, the Tri-Cities leader in sports.
The remaining 2 drivers have a total of just 3 races under their belt. Gunnar O'Farrell is behind the wheel of the U21 Lake Ridge Paving, while Bobby King returns to the U12 Graham Trucking. Bobby is a 3rd-generation driver, and his dad, Jimmy, is currently driving the U3 Griggs. Bobby is looking for his first win and to continue the success of the whole for Graham Trucking.
I actually just started last year. Was my first ride in an unlimited hydroplane period, and it was with the Graham trucking team. So I got to do Tri-Cities and Seattle, and it was an absolute blast to just get that experience and everything. And then this year we'll try to really get in the mix and try to go fight for some wins.
And how was it stepping into a hydroplane where you grew up around the sport? That's kind of how you get into it, is through your family, but you actually taking a seat. What was the biggest learning curve for you?
The biggest learning curve with Unlimited is just the overall size of the boat. I mean, they're absolutely massive. I've driven a bunch of the smaller boats and stuff. I own my own E350 that I raced back in Michigan and up in Canada and stuff. And yeah, and I mean, just with Unlimited, it's just the sheer size of the boat and how fast you're going. When you look down and you're seeing 180, 190 miles an hour, it's pretty wild the first time you do it.
And what changes have you made to the boat in the off season?
Oh, in the off season, the team's really they've gone through the entire boat, top to bottom, make sure everything's good to go. We have a couple small setup changes, and then a lot of it, Rob Graham and Tom Anderson have been awesome about making me comfortable in the boat. I was using an old seat just because of the timing and everything last year, but this winter I was out there, got my own seat fitted for the boat, got really comfortable in the thing, and that's, as a driver, that's always nice to be comfortable in something you're going to do 200 miles an hour in.
That's probably a good idea. And talk about the relationship of you with your dad, Jimmy, both the part of the motorsport world and hydroplane racing.
Oh man, I mean, my dad's obviously the one that got me into this sport. He was never, my mom and dad never really pushed it. And to be honest, when I kind of really, when I was 10, 12 years old, my dad was actually out of the sport. He wasn't driving, and then he got the call from Ed Cooper to come and run the U3, and yeah, that was kind of where I got sucked in. Crewed a lot for Ed from probably the time I was 10 until current day now. So, whenever Mr. Ed's boat's out, I like to jump up on the thing. Did the radios for my dad here in Tri-Cities a lot. And yeah, it was just kind of snowballed from there. There's nothing my family really ever planned on. My mom was obviously cool with my dad doing it, but not the biggest fan of one of her kids climbing into one of these things. But obviously she knew I really wanted to do it and wasn't gonna stop me from going to race boats. So it's definitely been a family effort. I mean, my mom and dad are at as many of the races as they can be, especially when I was young. They never missed a race or anything. So yeah, no, we're all really heavily involved in it now, and it's obviously my dad gets toward the end of his career and stuff, and but yeah, no, I mean, it's a big family sport, and I think that goes with any hydroplane team. If you ask any of these drivers, my dad drove, my grandfather drove, that's kind of a generational thing for sure.
Yeah, and what was the deciding factor? So we were talking about how both you and Andrew Tate are from Michigan. He's a couple years older, but that you never raced against him just because your mom didn't let you race in the same type of boat. So where did that kind of let go of, you know what, it's in your blood, I support you, and now you're racing in the H1 Unlimited? And
I think it was kind of more, my mom had actually seen a couple of Andrew's outboard races, and she was like, yeah, there's no cockpits or anything, you're not driving any of those. So then I we just went right to 2.5 stock. I went right to inboard. But I mean, when you really sit back and look at it with a lot like Jay Michael, Andrew Tate, all these guys that have driven outboards, it's huge to learn how to boat race in an outboard, and it's something I wish I would have gotten to do. It all panned out in the end, but yeah, I mean, it's just it's one of those things. The more experience you can get in these, it's always gonna be better. And obviously, it shows with Andrew, and he started driving when he was like 9 years old, and he'll definitely go down as one of the best to ever do this. That's for sure. But yeah, it's all about seat time in boat racing and getting better at it, and just hopefully you get the right chances, and maybe one day you'll end up in one of the H1 Unlimited hydroplanes. So I'm thankful to be here. It's been a long road, a long journey, but it's been a lot of fun along the way. So I'm just couldn't be happier to be in such a great piece of equipment like the U12, like the Graham trucking. I mean, this boat's got a lot of history, team's got a lot of history, and it's awesome. I'm ready to learn, and I can't wait to go racing this year.
And goals for this year?
Goals for this year, I mean, you know, we got all the rookie stuff out of the way. There's still, you know, a couple of tracks that we'll go to this year that I've never personally raced at, you know. But obviously the goal is to go out there and fight for wins. You know, that's Tom Anderson, Rob Graham, the whole Graham trucking team. They have a history of winning boat races, you know, with great drivers. And, you know, Jay Michael and all the guys that have stepped into the U12, Andrew Tate, they've had a lot of success. So I want to continue that success for Rob Graham and the Graham trucking team.
And last question, the Tri-Cities, you've been coming to it since you were a teenager, but what's your favorite thing about the Tri-Cities, either coming here or now as an H1 Unlimited driver?
Well, I mean, you just couldn't ask for a better place for hydroplane racing to happen than this river right behind us on the Columbia River. And I mean, it's just this place was almost like it was purely designed for unlimited hydroplane racing especially. So I mean, it's just the people here in Pasco, you know, you're always welcome with open arms here. Everybody here loves the boats, you know, they definitely call it Hydro Town for a reason. So, you know, it's just, I love everything about Pasco. I don't have anything bad to say about it, and this is one of the best bodies of water to race on in the country.
We are getting to know H1 Unlimited hydroplane drivers. What was your first job?
My first job? It was being a ground guy for my friend's dad's tree service. So he would have someone that would climb up the trees, cut the limbs off, and I'd haul them over to the chipper. So a lot of hard work, and made me really appreciate the opportunity to go to college and get a degree, not have to do that my whole life.
First job, I think I worked at a thrift store, right? Or as a driver.
Oh no,
my regular first,
yeah.
Maybe it was Wendy's, I don't remember. It could have been Wendy's. I think I actually worked at Wendy's with Corey.
Really?
We were flipping burgers, so yeah.
Wow.
Gotta start somewhere.
Domino's Pizza was my first real job, slinging some dough and making pizzas.
My first job, I was a carpenter. It was my first job at 15 years old.
I worked for my father, sweeping floors in the factory, basically.
Was he a good boss?
He was my dad. He was a tough boss, but a good boss.
First job was I worked at Napa remodeling their stores. My dad worked for Napa, and so what I would do is I would go in and change the store layout for him. I did that when I was 16.
What are your top 3 songs on your playlist?
I'm more of an old country guy, so anything from Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, and even some Travis Tritt.
38 Special, No Other Night. Probably a Stick Figure, Edge of the Ocean, and just something from Tupac. I kind of hit all genres.
Shaky Graves, J. Roddy Walston, and we'll throw Lana Del Rey in there.
Man, I have so many. I guess that's a hard one. I kind of have it set up on random, so they just randomly pop up.
Well, one of my top ones I've always loved, Jimi Hendrix, All Along the Watchtower. Been a big fan lately of some of Ryan Bingham's stuff. He's a country singer, and I got a pretty wide variety of songs that I like.
What is the key to finding the best pre-race bathroom?
Finding the best pre-race bathroom?
Yeah.
Closest one to the hauler, and usually you'll see a line of drivers there right before the heat. So yeah, hopefully the closest one to the hauler, that way I'm the first one there.
The temperature, whichever one is the coolest and not sitting in the sun.
The key to finding the best pre-race bathroom, man, I guess just knowing where your boat's parked and kind of scoping it out in the morning and whatever's the closest, I guess.
The H1 circuit starts June 29th in Alabama and is in the Tri-Cities for the Columbia Cup the last weekend of July. Well, that'll wrap up this week's show of The Sports Council. A reminder that The Sports Council happens 4 times a month, Thursdays at 11:30 a.m. on 1340 ESPN Radio, your Tri-Cities leader in sports, on demand at 1340ESPNradio.com. It's also available via podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, just search for The Sports Council. As well as there is a video portion that you can find on SK Plus. SK Plus is an app that you can find in the Apple Store, available for iPhones, iPads, or Apple TV. You can also find it on skeeterbuggins.com. Thank you to Stevens Media Group and Skeeter Buggins Productions with the help of the Sports Council. We'll catch you next time. Until then, I'm Jamie Council.